Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, March 27th. This is a short trading week because Friday here in the US is a holiday. And I want to give y'all a breakdown of the market as we come into a close of Q1, where we are, what we've done so far, and where I think we're going for the coming weeks and months ahead. So first things first, BTC is, looking like it wants to close somewhere around, let's just say, in the high 60s by the end of this month, by the end of this quarter, because we have what, 2, 3 days left, right? For the most part, you know, as we close out the quarter, you can kind of look at the 3 month candle, which looks very impressive in terms of, how it looks right now for Bitcoin. But just remember that whenever BTC has posted, massive, massive gains like this, prior to the halving, and then of course breaking previous all-time high, previously it has just kind of ripped right through for the subsequent quarters ahead, right? Especially after the halving. So we actually have the halving coming up on April 20th. So right there. Okay, so that's where the halving is coming up. Now, again, previous halvings, for example, in 2020, which was right here around May, if I'm not mistaken, sometime in mid-May, you can kind of see that the halving had a whole lot of chop, a whole lot of consolidation before it started to push up and then break out. Okay, so generally what you can expect for the current halving too is you're going to get some pullbacks, you're going to get some consolidations, you're going to get a lot of choppiness. Okay, even in the 2000, what was it, 16 halving, I think, which was somewhere around here, mid-May or mid-April, right? Actually, maybe it was, I forgot how the 2016 halving was. I think it was somewhere, no, I think it was somewhere here, March or April in 2016. Yeah, you see a little bit of consolidation, choppiness before it starts to take off, right? So the point is that as you look back on the halvings of 2016 and 20, and as we're headed to 2024, just kind of expect a general, chop consolidation, a pullback overall in projects, and a little bit of shakeouts here and there. Today is a very interesting day because whoops, wrong post. Today's a very interesting day because we had the court rule against Coinbase in a anticipated judgment. Looks like court finds SEC sufficiently pleaded Coinbase operated as an exchange, broker, and clearing agencies. Court sides with SEC on staking program issues. So point is, you're going to have this kind of, news start to come out, right? As we're ending the quarter, as we're nearing the judgment of many things anticipated in the market. For example, the Ethereum ETF, which is a long anticipated ETF that's supposed to come after the Bitcoin ETF, right? So as the markets have been heavily extended over the last few months, just kind of expect that you're going to get some bad news, you're going to get some nasty shakeouts, you're going to get some price action volatility because of not only seasonality of Q1 ending, the March triple witching, which is options, futures, and other contract expiries that come about pretty much at the end of Q1. You're going to have a lot of volatility just happening in general in the market. It has really nothing to do with crypto only. It's more so just crypto timeline events matching seasonality, matching rotations of what happens in markets, matching decisions that come out by courts and governments. So you kind of see all this stuff culminate somewhere around the same timeline, right? End of quarters, especially March, August at times, and sometimes June at times is just very particular months where a lot of volatility takes place. It's just how markets operate, right? So that kind of gives us an idea of where we are in terms of the larger, broader picture of crypto and BTC, which is we have an anticipated event of Bitcoin halving. We have the ETF coming about. We have the Q1 ending. And then of course, you have other things like the base season, right? So we've talked about base, which is a large sort of crypto new L2 chain that's coming about, which is garnering a lot of attention, a lot of money, a lot of users, a lot of volume, activity, etc. And that itself is going to create, heavy rotations in the market, meaning for the longest time, I've told y'all, if you've not been around in our Discord community, or if you've not been around in in the Solana ecosystem, we've been bulls in Solana for the longest time. And I think Solana is probably one of the top tier UI UX chains, the fastest chain, the best chain, in my opinion, in terms of just superior experience. Much better than probably any L2 chain that I've used, except now Base. Base is, in my opinion, starting to rival the speeds, the growth, the ecosystem viability, pretty much everything that Solana does. I think Base is starting to slowly do it equally well. And that's sort of a huge compliment because, Base, given that it's a Coinbase chain, has worked really hard to make sure that they create a solid, place where people from all across NFTs and DeFi and, degens and gamers and everyone can come to Base and start building, start using, and start growing. And so I think the rotation headed into Q2, which would be March, April, April, May, and June, would probably signify some sort of larger pullback, in my opinion, in Solana, which may create a range between like $200 to $100 for Solana. And in that same time, I think that money may rotate into Base projects. And that's kind of where I am today, which is, what are the top tier Base projects? Where is the money going? What are Base builders building? So one of the cool things that I'm going to talk about, and again, full disclaimer, I may or may not own some of these tokens. I may or may not have already posted them in our Discord and stuff. So this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to talk about Pixochi because I actually use it. I've been playing around with it. I posted about it a few times on my Twitter. And here's a picture of me kind of tweeting about my little plant, my garden that I build on Pixochi, right? This is mobile, by the way. This game is only played mobile. It's kind of like if you guys have played games in the past where you have to cultivate your own farm or take care of your own little, virtual animal or whatever, this is kind of the same thing, right? You have your plant, you have your little garden, and you have to give it sunlight and water and fertilizer and, pollination, special seeds, all kinds of stuff that you can buy for these small little prices. And that helps your plant grow. And then you cultivate a garden. And then once you cultivate a garden, you get points, maybe even get to collect some more of this seed token. You can also attack other people who have a bigger garden where you get to steal some of their points, their plants, right? So it becomes then a game of pure addictive transactions, right? So that means like every day you have to make sure that you give your plant or your garden sunlight, obviously, because plants need sunlight and they need water and they need special fertilizer and pollination and everything, right? So one thing I like about this game is that it is going to drive constant attention and constant user interaction, because effectively what you're going to have to do is you're going to need the seed token, right? And currently seed trades at 920K market cap. I mentioned this to our community, I think a week ago, and then I mentioned it again a few days back. So a week ago, I think it was trading at 400 or 500K. 2-3 days back, I was trading at 700K. Now it trades at 920K, close to a million market cap. I generally try to give most of the alpha to my Discord community just because, it's a community where we've all known each other for a long time, since 2017, 18 days. So whatever I find, I post it in my Discord first. Okay. So first things first, I think the seed token itself is going to be appreciating a lot simply because of the necessity of, requiring seed as the core token within the economy to grow your plants, to grow your garden, to attack others who have a bigger garden, et cetera, right? And one of the ways to relatively value this Pixachi game is a very similar game, which is called Friend Pet. And Friend Pet is almost exactly the same thing, which is you have like, I think I used Friend Pet. Let me see if I used it here. I was just testing it out, and Friend Pet is actually um, on desktop, whereas Pixachi is only mobile. But here you can kind of see, right? Like you have your pet, you have, your ability to upgrade the pet. You can swap and buy the FP tokens, which are the friend pet tokens. You can see, what kind of activity is there going on, who's attacking whom, um, how are they making points. This is exactly the same game as Pixachi, except slightly different because this one deals with pets and the other one deals with plants, right? I don't really know if it's made by the same team, that I'm not sure of, but it's just something that I'm exploring. I'm still trying to figure out how the whole game works, but I think it's really cool. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because Friend Pet trades at a $27 million valuation, whereas Seed, which is very similar in nature, right? Like I showed you, that the whole UI, UX, everything looks very similar to me, compared to like, Pixachi. Pixelated style games, interactions needed for, going about the game, taking care of your pet, taking care of your plant. So the interaction and the necessity for the token is relatively the same. And so why do I mention that? And it's simply because Friend Pet trades at a 27 million market cap, whereas Seed trades at less than a million, right? So that's about a 27x, multiple difference. And I'm not saying that Pixachi has to match that, because it's possible that Friend Pet is just a better game. Um, to me, it's kind of the same. I've been playing both of them, but gaming in general, right, I think is a very important sector that needs more attention, needs more builders, and needs more users. And I think games like Pixachi or Friend Pet are going to ultimately get a lot of people onboarded, especially via base, because base fees are extremely cheap still, in my opinion. Yes, they have their spikes here and there. Sometimes they go from like 1 penny to like $2 or $3. So I get that, but they quickly do come back down, in my experience. And I've been using base for like, several months now, and heavily over the last 1 month. So I believe that head into Q2, I think the rotation is going to start out of Solana and go into base, and products like Seed, Friend Pet are going to quite possibly benefit, right? So that's just gaming, right? Aside from gaming, there's, core products too. Like I've talked about BCOR many times. This is probably one of my favorite projects right now, which is that BCOR is trying to build, a DEX. They're trying to have Blueprint, which is kind of their launch pad. Basically, being able to have no code token creation right on their website, or sorry, right on their platform. And I think that's going to drive a lot of users and a lot of attention into BlueCore. I think that's a good thing, because you want fundamental projects like DEXs and launch pads also doing relatively well when it comes to, market participants finding opportunities to bet on different projects. So I think Blue Core is going to be another one. Swap base, which is actually very similar to Blue Core too. I think this one is, in fact, I think it's very similar because they also have their own launch pad, where you're going to be able to participate in upcoming projects. You can't spin off tokens yet on it, but you do have, swap decks, and you have the ability to pool your tokens and farm and stake. And they have a lottery. So kind of similar to Blue Core, but swap base, I think, is obviously has more sort of DEX related tooling versus Blue Core, but I think Blue Core is probably a superior team because of its, relative simplicity, but also, the fact that they will have that launch pad be able to, help people just launch tokens. And I think that's going to be a huge thing because I think that is one thing that's kind of missing in the market, which is your ability to sort of spin off, new tokens, new memes, you know, how do you generate new projects and spin them off right away on the base chain? And if you provide something like Blueprint, I think that's going to be a huge, huge W for something like Blue Core. So I give you guys these opportunities to look at the projects. And again, I may own positions in Blue Core. I've already disclosed that I do. I'm a huge fan of the project. I'm a huge fan of the founding team. And I spend a lot of time also in their Telegram, talking to the founders, talking to the people there. So I think really, really a smart, dedicated community is always a really good thing. So yeah, that's overall my thoughts on Blue Core, my thoughts on, maybe somewhat competing projects like Swap Based. But again, I think Blue Core sits top tier in that sense. Then after that, you have Telegram bots, right? Like I think a lot of projects lately have suffered, even memes, probably non-meme projects. Let's just say Pace, which is a Telegram bot project. This one trades now at a 47K market cap, but the point is, if y'all remember, I used to talk about like Steve Bot. Let me see if I can find my post. This was one of the first projects I had found on Solana ST Bot, which is a Telegram bot, way back in the day. This was November, I think, of November of 2023. And if you kind of look at ST Bot, right, and Pace Bot right here. So look at Pace Bot right now in like a smaller timeline. And look at ST Bot. Okay. So remember, Pace Bot trades at approximately 47K. When ST Bot started, which is a Solana Telegram bot, it went up to maybe $500,000, came back down all the way to, let me show you market cap wise, right? How that looks. Okay, this is back in November, right? Back in November, it went down to about 50K market cap, which is pretty much where PaceBot is right now. And then it went all the way up to 1.5 million, came back down again to about 240K. And then after that, it ripped all the way to 7.5 million. Currently, it trades at 4.1 million. Right. So I think bots in general, like PaceBot, have a higher ceiling, much higher from here, in my opinion. But I think the barrier to entry is also lesser in Telegram bots because now you can spin up TG bots quite easily, right? So I understand that maybe the upside is not 5-10 million, but I also don't think that the upside is lesser, meaning like lesser from here. I think at 47K, these Telegram bots are extremely undervalued, right? So just as a pure trade, as a pure product play, Telegram bots are in fact, a play that is better and easier because you know it drives users, you know it drives volume, you know people use it because it's a simpler sort of trading platform for users to use, right? So I like to find areas of opportunity in assets, especially on new chains like the base chain, where products are trading at very low market caps, but they actually have real use, right? Like if this was already at 800K or 2 million market cap, I would say, okay, well, the upside is clearly capped and it would not be, an opportunistic trade. But at 47K market cap, it's definitely a better trade than if it was, 10 times higher or 20 times higher, right? So this is kind of what I mean is, sure, PaySpot is going down in price, but in my opinion, these things, as these products come out and they get sold down heavily and they're at incredibly cheap market cap levels, they're, in my opinion, much better buys because, as long as you have a team working and, as far as I can tell, PaySpot is working hard. They're a great team. I talk to the, founders and devs every day. Every project, by the way, that I've mentioned so far, like BlueCore, for example, right? I try to make sure I talk to a team at least, or engage with the community at least, 3 to 4 times a week, just to make sure things are working fine. I don't pester them. I don't bother them about price or project growth or anything. It's just more so about what can I help with? How are you guys doing? Right? What can I do to help further the project? That's all I do, right? Because if you have a vested interest, which I do in PaySpot, or I have a massive bag in BlueCore, which by the way, I told our Discord community about BlueCore right around 600 or 700K market cap, or maybe 800K market cap, trading, almost 2 or 3 times higher than that right now. So I try to make sure, we give our Discord members, the opportunity to look into these projects much, much earlier. Same thing with PaySpot, right? Like I've been talking about it since 200, 300K. And even though it's trading at 50K right now, still a better opportunity, now versus if it's, at 800,000 or 1 million or 2 million, right? Same thing with Send. It's another project, kind of like the PayPal of Ethereum, the future, Cash App. However you want to look at it, these tokens, in my opinion, are greatly, greatly mispriced because I don't think people value the growth potential of these projects on a massive, massive ecosystem like Base. And same thing with, Send, same thing with BlueCore. These projects, as long as they have builders around them, as long as they have people around them that are continuously building, I want to bet on the best teams. And I think BlueCore is probably one of the best teams. I think Send is another incredible team, right? Pace, same thing. Great teams that are continuously building and not giving up. So again, I don't know if these projects are going to exist in 3 or 6 months from now, but today, on Wednesday, March 27th, they are building. They're doing whatever they can to stay alive and make sure that their treasury is padded well and they can bring in users and volume and activity. And you got to respect that as a user. You got to respect the builders, the founders, the developers, right? So anyway, that's pretty much it on the relative actual products front. The other thing I'll talk about is just meme coins, right? Like I think because we've had such a massive meme coin season, and again, we're wrapping up Q1 here. I do think meme coins definitely got a little bit out of hand. And, as we talk about actual projects and stuff, I think you probably want to still pay attention to meme coins for the rest of the year because they're not just going to disappear, right? It's penetrated the zeitgeist enough where everybody has meme coins on their mind. everybody has meme coins in some part of their portfolio. So I don't think they're going to go away, but few are going to attract, a large chunk of the capital. So I think on base, you have things like, Toshi, which is clearly the potential blue chip meme coin, Mochi probably. The higher the market cap, the lesser the chance that it actually goes to zero. But the lower the market cap, like someone was telling me about this meme coin, right? And again, please do your own research, not financial advice. Someone told me about this meme coin and they said, well, this is at a much lower market cap and I think it can go much higher, right? And I kind of thought about it and I said, well, yeah, but what if it doesn't, sort of penetrate the masses, right? It could just slowly bleed out and go to zero because then that means like the money could have been used somewhere else. Like, let's just say a top tier coin like Toshi, where it already has, 34,000 people involved, also has penetrated the base zeitgeist and has 235 million market cap. Whereas this coin, BEIS, base, which could actually just slowly bleed out and go to zero and your money's effectively, trapped or rather not productive. It could, maybe go up 10x easily and get to 140K market cap, or it can go to 1.4 million, which is 100x. So I will say that, there is an opportunity cost to both things. And I could see the viability of both things, which is this thing could, I get it, right? Like if you're trading at 14K to get to 10x, right? It's not that hard because this is just 140K market cap. Okay, that's not that hard for meme coins to do. And maybe from here, if it goes to, I don't know, maybe like $1.40 up here, $1.14, whatever it is, that's 100x, right? And that's not that hard to do because that puts the meme coin at 1.4 million. But again, hundreds and thousands of memes get launched like this. And I wanted to bring this as an example because the point is, the person who told me about this, I think he's much better at trading memes than I am. He just told me that, well, you have to as soon as you dump your money into a meme coin that's this low in market cap, just forget about it. Right? Meaning just assume it's already gone to zero. And, I don't really trade memes that much, but the point is, okay, that's a fair bet. So if you put in 50 or $100, assume it's already gone to zero. But if you put in, let's just say money into Toshi, like 50 or $100 is not going to give you that much significant upside, right? Because trading at 220 million, maybe the upside is $1 billion, right? Maybe it's 2 billion, so that's a 10x. So $100 becomes 1,000 or 2,000, and that's fair. I mean, that's still a lot of money, but I think people generally want, when it comes to memes, I think people generally want the big winners, like the easy 10xers or 100xers. And I think it took me a while to understand this kind of mindset of how and why people play memes, but I think I get it a little bit now. And I understand the mindset of if you're going to play memes, right, you either assume that it's already gone to zero if you're betting so low in terms of market cap, or you bet on the bigger, more established memes, and maybe you're, quote unquote, guaranteed a 3x or a 5x if they go to a few hundred million or a few billion dollars. But again, I'm really not fully sold on the memes. Like, not that I fight it. Listen, I trade memes here and there, but I'm not going to put a lot of money into the meme coins just because I like projects that are actually doing the work, like Seed or BCOR, which I've spoken about, which I think still trade at very, very good valuations. 2.1 million for BCOR is very cheap compared to the Uniswap competitor or the Aerodome. Aero trades, which is I think similar to what BCOR is, trades at 600 million, right? BCOR trades at 2 million. Again, I'm not trying to draw the comparison of, BCOR has to hit 600 million, not financial advice, but I'm saying that if they're in the same class of, products and same category of products, well, should be that, BCOR, if it does well, should be traded at much higher prices. Okay. So, sure, I get that memes are a discussion to be had in a potential part of the portfolio that people need to keep some money in, but I'm not going to tell you, which ones to buy, which ones to sell. It's just, it's very hard. You just have to know what is going to capture the meme attention and just basically pray. Right? That's all you can really do. So none of this is financial advice, of course. I just wanted to give you guys a rundown of the market overall, where we sit at the end of the quarter. Obviously, we've hit new all-time highs in BTC. Solana, we've not hit new all-time highs, but we're fairly close. ETH, same thing, we're fairly close. Maybe, a few weeks or a few months of consolidation, and maybe by the end of the year, we'll get to new all-time highs. I think that's the general consensus that the market has right now. My sort of contention is that maybe we do need just a cleansing, like a cleansing of memes, a cleansing of sentiment, given that almost everybody's incredibly bullish. And maybe we need to clean that up a little bit for, I don't know, two or 3 months. Like if you drop Ethereum from this local high that we just had to, I don't know, like a 40% drop, right? So that puts Ethereum at $2,500. If Ethereum drops by 40%, I'm fairly certain Solana drops by 55, 60%. Okay. So that puts Solana somewhere around $85, $90. Right. I think that's a fair drop for Solana. And like I said, I think Sol probably trades in this kind of like range, maybe something like this, right? Maybe it does something like this, like that for the next few months, and then takes off by the end of the year all the way to new all-time highs. Okay. And if that's the case, if Solana drops by 40, 50%, Ethereum drops by 30, 40%, BTC drops by 25, 30%, where does BTC get put at a 30% drop from local highs? 30% puts us at 52K, right? I think 52K is reasonable, in my opinion, for BTC. A 30% drop is, I think, reasonable for BTC, given that it's had such an aggressive run up. So where does that put meme coins? I think meme coins and most projects that are relatively new probably drop by 70, 80% easily. All right. And I think that is possibly the cleansing we may get, hopefully over the next few weeks, over the next few months. And I don't say hopefully as like a cynic or someone who enjoys the pain of the market. It just means that it increases the upside potential for the next leg up in the market by the end of the year, possibly even next year. When you have deeper pullbacks and larger consolidations, your upside becomes tremendously higher after that, because the straight up movement has caught so much fast money that once the fast money gets unloaded, right, it gets placed into hands that are much stronger, in which case, those hands are going to hang on and not dump so easily until much, much higher prices. Okay. So that's my overall thoughts on the market. New projects, new ways of looking at the market, new ecosystems, new memes, categories, etc. So none of this is investment advice. Yeah, so please do your own research. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter if you do want more insight. And then I'm also spending a lot more time on Farcaster or Warpcast, whatever you want to call it. You can follow me there. Same thing, 0xML is my username. Make sure you guys jump on Farcaster because there's a lot of opportunities to make money on Farcaster via airdrops. Like DGen tips is one of the big things that's happening. DGen tips. Where is it? I think you got to go to like, yeah, there it is. DGen tips, right? Here, this is kind of like now the more adopted meme token of Warpcast, and you can tip people with DGen tips. You can earn money for just pure interactions. You get airdropped just for using Warpcast via the DGen token. And the DGen token is basically a meme token, right? So I think I have it somewhere in here. Let me see here. It's right there, right? DGen token started off, pretty much at very, very low market cap levels. Let me see here. Way back here started off, much, much lower, like maybe $5-10 million, and now it's 180 million. So had you held on to those tokens or you were just using Warpcast, you would have gotten those free tokens and you would have basically 10x'd your money by simply just, using Warpcast like you use Twitter. So I, am starting to use Warpcast a little bit more. I think there's a lot of smart people on Warpcast, and basically, you may get airdrop free tokens or opportunity to make, money via the DGen token on Warpcast. Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna wrap it up here. All right, thanks everybody. Good luck. Be careful in the market. Q2 I think is going to be a little bit shaky. If you have any questions, shoot them my way. Until then, take care. Good luck. Cheers.